The Petroleum Industry Act, subsidy is gone. Crude for naira. Did you actually expect that the prices of petrol across the country would remain at the levels we witnessed in December 2024? Is the petroleum policy direction fully exhausted, or there's room for more? We'll be answering these questions and more in the course of the program. As always, my name is Leah Katung-Babatunde, and it's nice to have you join me on the show. We start off straight away from the trends table. The National Pension Commission (PENCOM) says it has received an additional 22 billion naira for settlement of unpaid accrued pension rights by the federal government through the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation as part of the 2024 appropriation for the period July to September 2024. PENCOM in a statement said the disbursed funds have been applied, bringing the total amount released so far from the 2024 appropriation for accrued rights settlements to 66 billion. Recall that 44 billion naira was released in December 2024 for the payment of accrued pension rights for retirees of federal government treasury-funded ministries, departments and agencies under the Contributory Pension Scheme. The payment is accrued pension rights of retirees who were duly verified and enrolled covering the period October 2023 to January 2024, as well as some deceased employees. 4 Nigerian billionaires are worth $23.7 billion, but over 133 million other Nigerians face hunger. A new report published by Oxfam titled Takers Not Makers also indicated that the wealth of these 4 billionaires could easily cover whole of Lagos City in 500 naira notes. According to the report, Nigeria's wealth gap has reached crisis levels, with the richest individuals accumulating unprecedented wealth while the poor struggle to survive. It said in 2024, billionaire wealth surged, and this trend is expected to continue, with at least 5 trillionaires emerging in the next decade. Country Director Oxfam Nigeria, John McKenna, said low and middle income countries spend on average nearly half of their national budgets on debt repayments, often to rich creditors in New York and London. The Nigerian Communications Commission (NCC) has approved a 50% tariff increase for telecoms operators in the country, which means telephone subscribers in Nigeria will pay more for data and airtime. Ruben Morka, spokesman for the regulator, in a statement said the price adjustment, though lower than the over 100% requested by some network operators, was arrived at taking into account ongoing industry reforms that will positively influence sustainability. He added that the increase was pursuant to its power under Section 108 of the Nigerian Communications Act 2003 to regulate and approve tariff rates and charges by telecommunications operators. However, Nigerians are kicking against the move, with organized labor condemning the hike. The Nigeria Economic Summit Group (NESG) has announced the appointment of Mr. Wole Adeneyi, Mr. Mohammed Darwish, and Mr. Olusegun Alebiosu to its board. NESG in a statement said the appointments underscore its unwavering commitment to foster visionary leadership and partnership with business leaders and private sector champions to transform the Nigerian economy. Wole Adeneyi is the Chief Executive Officer of Stanbic IBTC Bank Limited and is responsible for driving its institutional strategy across our technology, digital transformation, corporate and investment banking arm, and retail banking arm. Mohammed Darwish has over 20 years of experience working in the telecommunications sector and is IHS Nigeria's Chief Executive Officer, while Olusegun Alebiosu was appointed the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of First Bank Nigeria Limited in June 2004. Next is that policy conversation on the price fluctuations, the petroleum industry in Nigeria, and the economy at large. The cost of PMS, otherwise known as petrol, is going up again. Well, shortly before now, Nigerians were rejoicing that the prices had gone down. But then, if your January has not changed, then it is about to change. So, understanding the dynamics responsible for fluctuations in the cost of petrol and the implications is our focus today. And I have joining me Dr. Billy Gillis-Harry, the National President of Petroleum Products Retail Outlets Owners Association of Nigeria. It's nice to have you, so join me for this conversation.
Thank you, Leah. Thank you for having me, and thank you for having PETROAN. It's a very joyful thing to always interact with you in matters of business in Nigeria. So thank you.
We've just come out of December, the festivities where prices of petrol, in fact, the queues disappeared for the first time in a long while. We didn't have queues, but then the prices are going back up again. So can we have an understanding? What is at play here?
Well, let's give credit to who credit is due. I think we should congratulate the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Several presidents have come and gone in the last 20-something years. And even before then, scarcity of petroleum products during the Yuletide is the order of the day. But for the first time, I said for the second time, because during Desiane's time, there was also no fuel scarcity for 1 year alone, one Yuletide. But today, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has started his leadership in the first round of his presidency with a story that is resonating very well. We should also congratulate the Minister of Petroleum, Oil, Senator Henneken. We should also give credit to Engineer Leah Katung-Babatunde and his team that has delivered on the refinery, and more than required value also for Dangote refinery that made the landing. Now, these are the factors that have resulted to no scarcity during the Yuletide in 2024. And of course, quite a number of reasons were, projected as to why the prices were also down. Dangote told us that it was a gift. And in one of my interventions, I said that a gift is acceptable, but at the end of the day, no business thrives without profit. And so we're here today that the availability of petroleum products, which PETROAN has always advocated for, is here because we are one of those that were very, very loud on the issue of declaring a state of emergency on the refineries in Nigeria so that we can have in-country refining value and be able to do as much as possible to guarantee availability of petroleum products of all kinds: gas, PMS, ATK, DPK, low-power fuel oil. Now we have that. Not yet in abundance, but it's growing. And other refineries also coming up. Edo refinery is there. Walter Smith is there. Aradel is also coming up. And now Bua refinery is also hoping to launch shortly. And of course, PETRON's initiative of bringing in a partner to build a 50,000 barrel per day refinery is also on the offering. So to answer your question, after giving this background, there was adequate products, enough PMS, and there was abundance of it. And then, of course, price competitions, setting from reduction of prices to increase of prices within the bandwidth of less than 25 days. PETROAN has always posited that we should always look at the factors, the entrepreneurial and economic factors that are the input values to producing 1 ton liter of PMS. So in January this year, prices of crude oil started going up. And that has its own, attendant effect. And the effect naturally will be that anyone who is having to buy crude oil, whether crude oil is bought in Nigerian naira or is in the US dollar denominated sale, will then have to grapple with the fact of high costs of crude oil, which is the main product that's required to produce any of these products, especially PMS. So that's where it is. And once those cost elements come up, it will impact on the pricing.
So if I may come in here, if we're talking about the refineries that we're going to have more coming, the increase in refining capacity, does it play any role in pricing?
Yes, the increase in refining capacity in Nigeria will definitely play its own role at the appropriate time. Now, take for instance, PETROAN as an organization that today boasts of over 6,700 plus members, have to buy products from a 50,000 barrel per day refinery, and is captive to us. And PETROAN is also captive to that refinery. Our objective will be to sell as much product out of there as possible. And we want to sell it at prices that will be profitable, but will also give value to the Nigerian. Now, on the other hand, we have a massive refining capacity in Africa, in fact, in the world, that is battered in Nigeria by Dangote Refinery. And we are very proud of that. As an association, we are very proud that this is happening in our time and our season, our country, and our continent. That one man can have the courage to do what he has done. So when you now bring all of the 650,000 barrels per day refining capacity also into play, to the small ones of 5,000 barrels per day refinery, price competition, cost of logistics will definitely pay the Nigerian, because a lot of us will then start to look out for how we'll be selling these products to end users. So the idea of even coming out to markets, to talk to consumers, talk to companies that should be able to retain our retail outlets as a captive off-takers, will definitely get to the point where price reduction will become the order of the day.
For most Nigerians, and you've already spoken to some of the issues, which is whether you buy in naira or in dollar, it's actually the same thing. A lot of people thought some time back that when you buy in naira, it's going to make it fair. But we're seeing the dynamics that play now that it's just the same thing. So
no, it's not the same.
It's not the same.
No, it's not the same. Let me tell you, if NNPC, that's refining today about 60,000 barrels per day plus the 125 in Warri, if they are to buy crude oil in dollar and pay for it in dollar, then they must source for dollar. So that takes out of our foreign exchange capacity. But because the President Bola Tinubu-led government has now rolled into play the Naira for crude policy, they don't need to source for dollar. Even though they have to buy it at the exchange rate of dollar on that particular hour, that particular minute, that particular day. The major difference is that we're not depleting our foreign exchange. We're having Naira in country. And so the ease of paying for that product to NNPC, that is the seller of the crude oil to any of these refineries, help in cushioning up the naira value. Because once our naira is shored up and the value is increasing every day, it will impact on our economic growth.
Do we see this easing up soon, or Nigerians should condition their minds that these fluctuations will perpetually affect them?
The industry is today deregulated and is fully deregulated. In my opinion, we should invoke the PIA basis of the removal of subsidy and also the full deregulation to make it really become impactful with the requisite laws, rewards, and punishments. So that way we have a fully deregulated law, the regulation law that is certain. Now, in this deregulated state of the downstream, every single transaction will be based on willing buyer, willing seller. It will be based on factors of demand, factors of supply, and very stringent economic values for logistics and delivery of that, which is why we advocate that the subsidy that's been removed should be applied immediately, massively to minimum railways. First, education, health, and other means of transportation like CNG, fired buses, taxis, and vehicles that should be converted with incentives given to users and retailers, to ensure that the CNG factors of energy is fully implemented. So that is how it's going to be. Because it's a deregulated economy, prices will fluctuate. And it will be, behaving in that way until there will be an equilibrium where we can see that the price changes will not be very volatile.
So talking volatility, we saw the US President Donald Trump signed executive orders, one of which had to do with your sector, and they're going to be doing more of exploration and ditching the climate change agreement. Is that in any way going to impact us here?
Well, it will impact on us. It will impact on our business, impact mostly in the upstream and the midstream, the trading arm of NNPC. Because at the end of the day, we're 200 plus million Nigerians. And this is where, for me, the major challenge for Nigerians is certain. Donald Trump is president of the United States of America, for crying out loud. There are just about 400 million people. So for crying out loud, Nigeria should wake up and tinker domestically and think out of the box to bring our own economic values into play. Do we have to be dependent on oil? Do we have to be dependent on oil and gas? Do we have to be dependent on other sources of income and grow our economy? That should be the challenge of Nigeria. And I do believe that our president, being an accountant and a businessman, will already start to smell the coffee because it's morning. If you ask me, I'm very happy about those policies. It is his country. He can set up his own executive orders. Executive orders are not even backed by a constitution. So what stops our own country from also coming up with our own executive orders of what we should not do that will impact also negatively in other countries to give us the advantage we need? So that's exactly what I think we should do. So let all of us wake up and smell the coffee. It's morning. And we need to, look, this country that is yours, Nigeria, is the most powerful country in the world. Nigeria is the most endowed country in the world. Is there any field of endeavor in this whole globe, from marine engineering to space science, that Nigerians are not excelling? They are even top. We just need to get our acts right. So for me, it's my sector But I'm very open, to start exporting palm oil. I'm very open to start exporting mangrove barks. There's a lot of business opportunity in this country. And that's why I say Nigeria is the most blessed and the most powerful nation in the world. And we need to wake up. We only need to deal with people according to what they want to do with us. As far as I'm concerned, I like the reciprocity foreign policy that Nigeria developed sometime in the Obasanjo years and the Abacha years. We should wake up. Donald Trump can run this America, so we should also run our country, and we should run it well. And I believe that something inside of me, I don't know why I feel that confident, but every day when I wake up, I'm confident that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will turn this country into an El Dorado. It should not be about how much wealth we have or what we have accumulated. Because after all, we cannot sleep on two beds in the night. We cannot sit in two cars at the same time. We can't even sit in two chairs at the same time, except you are keeping your legs in one. So we need to start looking at the value for money and walk our walk. Nigerian naira used to be 70-something kobo to $1. And that's what I paid when I tried to get into the US at the age of 17, 18. As school fees. And I didn't even need to go to the bank. I went to the post office to buy a postal order to pay for my school fees. So we can get back to that time. And we are talking about 78, 79. How many years away is that from now? We can get back, leave this world financial institutions that give us all sorts of advices and all of that. We don't need them. We have studied enough economics and enough finance, enough financial engineering by Nigerians, and we are so endowed with very top quality men and women.
There is the argument that we need to take drastic measures on local solutions to our problems. Do you agree with that?
Totally. And that's just what I said, that we need to think out of the box. We need to leave most of the postulations that are given to us by foreign countries and institutions that don't love us. We need to look forward, look inwards into our own kitchen. We have solutions. And we have men and women that can think. Nigerians have capacity to sweat their brains in every single thing we do. The resilience of Nigerians are high. The intelligence quotient, our level, look, if Nigeria wakes up, the world will sneeze. Take it from me. I want to encourage us as Nigerians to really get back to the act. Let's forget about so much partying and so much champagne drinking and drinks that we don't produce in our country. We were having a gin, fantastic product. They called it illicit gin. And that illicit gin today is what even the king of England is drinking with his roots. And we are not yet waking up to know that we don't even need the pharmaceutical prescriptions that we are getting from strange lands. Nigeria is endowed. Our forests are endowed. We are battling with different nationals coming to take leaves and trees and palm kernel and palm trees from us, and they are growing the economy. We must challenge ourselves. Even the refining we are talking about, we don't need this $25 billion refineries. When we have young men and women that are refining products with little or nothing, and they can even recycle it, we need to study what they are doing and bring that solution to book. You go to Jos and look at the weather. We are growing apples there. Growing different. We don't need to go to South Africa to get apples. We don't need to buy apples from London. We were in a war. The weapons that were devised were homegrown. Why didn't we get back to study that technology and grow it? And that's what this country should be doing going forward.
Sincerely, thank you for making our time for this conversation.
Thank you so much.
Coming up next is our education segment, Simplified, and from there we'll take you to the local commodities markets. We're both here for this edition, but don't forget, as always, we have markets and more on our sister channel. It is www.marketnigeria.tv. Saban Media Services is poised to serve you better, and so do send in your questions, comments, and suggestions because we value them. And for Nigeria to be the best country we want it to be, it's time for everyone to put hands on deck and let's get to work. My name is Leah Katung-Babatunde. Have a beautiful weekend and God bless Nigeria.